In the meantime, are we recording yet?
Yes, you're good to go.
Okay, great. So I just want to remind those attending and the audience that will be listening at home that this is a open meeting. It can be recorded, or it is being recorded and broadcast on WRPS. Meeting notes will also be available and posted with the town clerk's office, and also they'll be eventually make their way online. So welcome, Lori. Good to see you. Okay. So we do have a quorum this evening for our meeting here on January 20th. I'll share just briefly our share our agenda. Let me know if you guys can see my screen, someone?
Yes, it's coming fine.
Okay. All right. So basically, for tonight, we're going to be looking at review the transfer request. It looks like we don't have any. I believe Biz confirmed that with me earlier in the week. We're going to talk about the calendar. Doug was nice enough to put together like some expectations. And if you kind of backtrack everything from May 3rd, there's of course 2 weeks where we have to advertise and put the warrant out there for residents to look at. And then prior to that, there is some voting that has to occur. And then, it kind of dials itself back to the finance committee's vote. And, our job is between now and then, as we're prepared to do it, is to get through the financial reviews of the budget, any debating, any questions that we have, things that we need to have answered, clarifications, et cetera. But our job is to get through that voting in an efficient manner and be ready to go so that we hit that target date. So then the budget will then go to the Board of Selectmen. Or actually, I think the Board of Selectmen actually vote on it first, and then we vote on it last. And also the Capital Planning Committee would have to vote on their items. And then we can finish our job and we can get ready for print for the warrant. So again, we'll go over that calendar, talk briefly about liaison assignments. And that's basically what we're going to cover tonight. We'll also take any like walk-on items and things like that if that becomes the case. There was an item that was sent out by Biz. Hopefully everyone had a chance to see that. There's a spreadsheet that she had put together to compare revenue projections. This is revised versus what we kind of what we thought and kind of what we're getting. And I think that Biz is going to spend a little bit of time to go through those numbers. We're going to hit some of the highs and lows. Unfortunately, I think that there's not a ton of highs, but I don't think that a lot of that comes with a much surprise. But Biz is going to walk us through that and kind of get us ready for, kind of thinking about this information as we roll towards the budget. So with that, Biz, if you wanted to share your screen and kind of walk us through the document, would be great.
Okay. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Can everybody hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So this is our revenue projections for the December 31st timeframe for 2020 and the December timeframe for 2021. Can you each see the screen okay?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. So what we did is we took a little bit of a different approach right now, where rather than looking at dollars, we're looking at percentage of the budgets collected. So in December of 2019, we collected 19,100,009 whatever, or 50.32% of the budget. This year we collected 19,591, which is 48% of the budget. So budgetarily, we're down about 1.57%, which isn't a bad number, but when you multiply it out, it's about $300,000 less collected versus what we collected last year, based on the aggregate. One of the other things that we're looking at here is the motor vehicle. Oh, I can't move my screen. I can't advance my screen for some reason. Let's see. I'm gonna put it back up 1 second. Yep. Here we go. Okay, so our next area is the motor vehicle tax. What you'll notice here is the motor vehicle tax. We did drop it down on the budgeted amount from 2.8 million to 2.7 based on our actual collections during fiscal year 20. So we have collected 12.85% this year versus 13.47. That's down 0.61%. Again, it's not a big percentage, but in the total scheme of things, it just adds up over the course of time. One of the surprises that we're working with right here is the meals tax. We've collected 114,000 where we budgeted for 150. We went conservative based on what we were projecting as the knowns. The rooms tax, we're at 198. Again, we have projected 300, going conservative. And if you look at what was collected last year, we are 169,000 collected last year versus 114,000 this year, but our budget is a lot lower. So that's, there's different avenues you have to look at when you're looking at this. And last year at this time, we collected 368 in the room tax, but we had also budgeted 605. So for 21, we budgeted 300 and we collected 198. So our tracking for that, for what we budgeted, is looking pretty good. I know one of the big things that people are very curious about is the cannabis revenue. As explained before, the cannabis revenue that we have here represents approximately 1 month of cannabis revenue. I think it was when they first opened at the tail end of August. So there's very little revenue there. We are anticipating to have our cannabis revenue in our January 31st revenues from the state. We aren't sure what it will be at this point, but we're anticipating, I'm going to say a good amount of money. I can't say how much, so I don't want to commit to a value, but that value, of course, will make a big difference on some of the other things that we're a little bit short on.
So Biz, can I just ask a question on that? I mean,
of course you can.
Okay, this is Bill Stewart. The first month of cannabis, that was at a time when the place was so crazy that they had police directing traffic. So many people wanted to go there, and yet there's only $1,100 of tax revenue on the first month. I mean, do we have any idea what we're going to be expecting in the future?
Well, for here, this is only a couple of days worth.
Okay.
I believe they opened in August, so this is like 2 or 3 days in August.
Okay. All right.
Okay, so it's a 1 month time frame that ended in August.
Okay.
So that's why it's going to be a big variable. The excitement of the shop opening, of course, is going to drive more revenue. Once people get used to going there, the revenue will probably drop off a little bit, but
it'll be more stable. Okay.
It'll be more stable. Exactly.
You've answered my question. That was 2 or 3 days worth, not a month's worth. Okay.
No,
perfect.
No, 2 or 3 days. Very limited.
All right.
So we go down a little bit farther into the penalties and interest. Yes, sir.
Hey, Biz, on the cannabis revenue, can you just tell me how I don't know if you know this or not, but in other words, what part of the revenue is coming through to us? So, $1,000 worth is spent at the store. I know the sales taxes, but I'm not very close to this whole thing. So I really don't know what are the additional taxes that end up flowing through to us in our, the different reports that we get from the state.
I'll be perfectly honest, and I have absolutely no idea. We can find out, but I don't think it's hard to project because their sales are going to go up and down. The state has their percentage they take out. We get our percentage. I don't think this falls in a local option avenue. So we'd have to check. Standard sales tax is 6.25%, but is this being taxed in the same way that tobacco would be, where it's $1 a pack on tax? I'm not really sure how the breakdown works. If it's something we need to know, I can absolutely research it and go from there.
And Biz, is there a schedule on how often we get the money? I mean, August was second quarter, and here third quarter, and here we are. Third quarter's gone, fourth quarter's gone, and we've gotten just 1 month in the middle of the third quarter's worth. How much of a lag is there going to be, or is this just something that catches up very quickly? It's just when it starts, it's slow.
Well, we're in a fiscal year. So
Yeah.
this is the,
Okay. So first
it would be
quarter,
July,
okay.
August, September, first quarter fiscal year.
But we're in the third
Okay.
quarter now.
We're in the third quarter now, and it's normally 30 days after the quarter closes is when we will see revenue. So the quarter closed December 31st. So we're anticipating a payment on or about January 31st.
What about September? You said if this is a few days in August. September was part of the first quarter. Do we
Well,
have September yet?
Not yet. It's all going to come in at the same time. And part of it is just like at the local level, the state level is also working remotely. So there are some lags on some of the payments and some of the recordings going in. Now, the company, Canavana, who's our cannabis provider in Rockland right now, they filed their tax returns monthly on September 30. Is normally how it works. They file a monthly like a meals tax. So once that's filed, then it goes to the next step. So the September 30, theoretically, we should have gotten something in December, but I'm not exactly sure how they're making it work right now. But in January, it will tell us what months we're collecting for. So it will say September through December, or it could say September through October. So we have to wait and see what the report reads.
Okay.
Okay. So here our penalties and interest, they're tracking pretty good right now. We did drop them a little bit to 437,000 from 450 last year. They are a little bit up from last year. But our, let's see, interest and demands for auto is up. I'm sorry, real estate interest and demands are up. And that's more likely because when we're closing out the year and we're starting our new tax cycle, a lot of people get notices that they haven't paid their taxes and they scramble to pay. And they do have late fees. So penalties and interest are good because it boosts our coffers, but it's bad because people are paying late for various reasons that they probably have no control over. Payment in lieu of taxes, that's just a single payment we get every year. Last year we collected 18,000 in total for the year. So we'll be on track to collect the same. The trailer park receipts or mobile home receipts, it's a one-time fee that goes to each parcel of land for these mobile homes, like a Leisurewood mobile home, or I think there's something up at Beechwood. So that is tracking perfectly. By the end of the year, we should have somewhere around 65, 70,000. The trash receipts, it looks like we're running 53% of our collections, and we do have totes that we are now, people are coming in and requesting more totes. So the more totes that we sell or put the people in for, the tax receipt revenue goes up in addition to the totes. We're looking okay there, but the biggest concern we want to watch there is not only the receipts are coming in, but also our trash costs have gone up as well. Due to the pandemic, people being home, trash that would normally go out through your corporate avenues or restaurants, things like that is now coming out of the home.
Are you hacker one?
I'm sorry?
Why are you hacker one?
Me? Who you talking to, John?
Right, but
John,
sorry,
who you talking? Okay.
Joe
all right.
Gambon just logged into the call.
Okay.
His username comes up hacker1. So if
Okay.
hacker
I
one
wouldn't
is
have let him in.
talking,
I'm sorry, it's Joe Gambon. My daughter did something to my computer.
Okay.
I'll rename you.
Yeah, thanks.
Joe.
It's Joe
Okay.
Gambon.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
I wouldn't
There
have
you
let you in myself, but who asked me? So there's certain revenues that we're tracking okay with, others that we're not. The biggest thing here is we have certain fees that have gone up versus last year. Our firearms fees, they're up minimal, a couple $100. The fire department fees, they're up that would be permits for burning, permits for fire inspections, alarms, things like that. And we have had a lot of refinancing and stuff. So when you have a lot of refinances, that home also has to be inspected for that. Town clerk fees, we had dropped it from 50,000 last year to 39,000 this year. And we're running just a little bit below what we had last year, but that's to be expected. Last year, as you know, we had a lot of freedom of information requests that were coming through for various reasons. So that is starting to dwindle off. So that revenue won't be in the $50,000 range. It'll be closer probably to the 25, 35,000. Okay, so that's something we're watching. Police details, there's more construction work going on in town, so the detail fees have gone up a little bit. The conservation fees, zoning, and conservation zoning, they now have a fee that goes into the general fund. It used to all be lumped into the clerk's office, et cetera, but we separated them out so we could see exactly what's going on. The estimated Medicaid reimbursement, this was the one in fiscal 20 that we had estimated 400,000 and we reduced it
20.
at the town meeting. And
What?
after speaking to the school committee, we had made the budget at 100,000. So we've collected 117,000, which is good, but some of that money is from prior year. So as we go into the remainder of the year, if we get 200,000, that will be good, but I'm not really sure if we're going to get that. So that's on the positive side. Ambulance fees are ahead of last year, which unfortunately you use an ambulance, it's because somebody's sick. So I think keeping them, it's not because rates increased or anything like that. It's just because we're having more transports. Licensing here, which is, if I'm going too fast, just ask me to slow down or ask me to stop and we can go over it. Liquor licenses are down. We had budgeted 40,000 in 2020, 21, we budgeted 37,250. And we have collected all the liquor licenses. They're due to be paid on or before December 31st. So our liquor licenses are down a little bit. And as you look down the list, our entertainment licenses are down, our video licensing is down. Those are the types of things that go hand in hand with restaurants and things like that. So we know we have had some downturn in our restaurants and bars in the town. Overall, it's not significant money for the permits themselves, but those permits also feed into our meals tax, et cetera, and other commerce within the town of Rockland. So it's kind of indicative of what's going on right now. The inn holders, we'd never budgeted that before, so we budgeted 150 and we collected 225. Again, common vics are down. And trench permits, that's variable, that's not a lot of money. Fees miscellaneous, that's through the collector's office. That's for copies or whatever else they do. Building permits, this is an area we kind of want to watch a little bit. Last year at this time, we collected 119,000. This year we've collected 96,000. And the offset here is your gas inspector is up a little bit, your plumbing and your wiring. And I'm going to make an assumption here that the reason that the gas, plumbing and wiring are up is because work was delayed that was supposed to be done in 2020, fiscal 2020, and it was delayed due to the pandemic. And right now our billing permits will be on target, I think, to close at 176,000. We have nothing outstanding to a substantial amount for building permits right now. So we should be on target with that. So those are looking pretty good. Fines, most of these fines are negligible. What we had done in the past is historically the town had budgeted 10,000 for the library fines. Last year we only collected 2,500. We dropped it down to 5,000. And so far, I've only collected $94. And so we're gonna just go on the fact that the library fines at 5,000 is gonna be non-existent. And then the parking violations, which are based on snow. Typically, parking violations come out when you violated this parking ban during a snow emergency. We have had a couple of storms. This does not include it does. This includes the December storms. So we have some money coming in. Of course, it's less than last year at this time, but it's not too concerning. Earnings on investment. In 2020, we had budgeted 250,000. At this time, we collected 166 during the budgeting process. We went conservative on the earnings on investments because we weren't sure where we were going with the borrowing, et cetera, and the borrowing got approved, of course. So we estimated 200,000 on earnings. We're at 168,000 right now, but just want to point out that this interest is based on project money we have in the bank. Okay, so when we get into our 22 budget, we will need to look at this and go conservative as well because the school building project is in process. And we already borrowed a substantial amount of money for the project. So the interest may be in the same 200,000 range for budgeting purposes. Let's see, other revenue. These are all revenues that you do not budget for, but they're here on the projection so you can see where we're going. So overall, we have collected 43% of our budgeted 6.7 million. And last year we collected 40% of 7.3 million. So our budgets are down, but we're pretty much in alignment on the collections. So the next session goes to, and this is where we had a little bit of another issue with the state. These are our state estimates per the final cherry sheet, which came out in December. We had originally budgeted 200 and, let me see if I can open this a little bit. Let's see. Sorry, I'm just going to have to bring this over. We have budgeted here 213,000, I believe, in the state aid. 213,608. That's what our budget was when we went into the town meeting in the fall. Now, when we got our final cherry sheet, they dropped our revenue again by $112,000. So that's a substantial hit for budgets our size. And that 112,000 is a shared expense between the town and school that if we can capture it, we will, but 100,000, that's substantial. So our estimated revenues were 17,912 versus 18,25, I think it was. So with that, we're 49% of the collections of the state revenue. But with the state revenue during this whole process, they told us we were only going to get small portions of our revenue until the final cherry sheet budgets were done. These were just done in December. So I'm anticipating, unless God forbid something happens, our revenues will start going up here in the local receipt aspect. So it looks like we collected 1.84% below what we had collected in 19. And this bottom part here, that's our special revenue, which we don't really calculate in. Special revenue being transfers from other funds, indirects, etc. Over here on the right-hand side, if we took 49.32% on what we have actually collected or actually budgeted, which was 64 million, theoretically, we should have collected 31,746,383 based on last year's collections. And we've only collected 31,317,777. So right now we're below revenue at about $428,000. And a good portion of that is from the taxation. We don't feel as though this is a red flag area yet. We will continue to look at it and see how the trending's going. But about 300,000 is in the taxation area, and approximately 100,000 is through the state aid area. So we know where our problem areas are. We just have to keep a watch on them. And let's say the cannabis money comes in, let's say 100,000. Well, that shifts the figures. Now we're at 328 versus 428. Does that make sense? Yes, no?
Yeah, so I'm sorry, Biz, so the
Yeah,
taxation,
Okay,
Yeah, it looks fine.
okay.
yeah, I mean, I think that you said that the taxation, I understand the state aid,
Mhm.
but the taxation, like, what's the biggest number outside of that state aid number that you're looking at?
Taxation.
Yeah, so I mean, just, can you go back to that? Because I
Yep.
just I may have been missing that when I was dealing
Nope.
with that hacker.
Yeah,
Sorry.
that's okay. So essentially, we're 1.57% below what we collected last year. So
okay.
just simple math, take 1.57%, it's roughly $300,000. And I'm doing my own creative math, but it's pretty rough in that area. So our tax collections are down a little bit, but we
And we
expect
think
some of
that-
that to change.
Do we think that some of that is that people losing their homes, not paying their property tax? Is that really what we're talking about?
Well,
With-
you have to look at it this way is we've had a lot of refinances, which are good. So people who may not have had mortgage before are now in mortgage, so their taxes are in escrow. The 400,000 or 300,000, and this is the most simple way I can put it, is these are people who own their homes, potentially who may have run into financial trouble, who are behind on their bills, things like that. So it's an indicator of the economy right now.
Right.
So that's how we're looking at it through the finance team, and we met on this morning, just to say where do we think it's coming from, and we had some collections come in that were up, which was great, but what we also have to realize is that the debt payments are included in that, so we have substantial debt of the 434, which is your debt excluded. Those figures right there, I can't say what the total is, but roughly $3 million is excluded debt, which goes straight to borrowing. So it looks like we're going to be collecting 40 million, but 3 million off the top is already spent. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I know we're doing what we can with refinancing on our own. And I think we talked about this the last time, that
Mhm.
we have great rates, and we've negotiated a lot of great things, but also we're kind of hamstrung. There's no COVID relief out there for local. I mean, again, with that last package that was passed, my understanding was that there was very little for local state governments and local governments.
Well, I can explain on the CARES Act if you'd like, while we're all here. Would you like me to do that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, just if there's
Okay.
any positive impact, especially, but just in general, will be fine. Yeah.
Are we done with the share screen? Are we good with this?
Yep, I think so.
Okay.
Anybody else have any questions?
Okay, I'm going to take down my screen. Okay, so the CARES Act funding, the town of Rockland received $2.885 million for the CARES Act, of which we split the funding 70-30, just like we do our budgets. So the school was allotted 1.8 million, the town was allotted 9, and as we were getting closer into December, we gave the school an extra 100. So their total allotment was $1.9 million of the 2.8. That leaves 900,000 for the town, of which the town pays for all the requirements for the town departments, for everything for the water and sewer, for requirements, and also for the vocational schools. So they submit their expenses to us. We pay their expenses, and then we send it off to Plymouth County. We are different because we are in Plymouth County. Plymouth County kept the money, which in my opinion was probably the best thing that they could have done for the town of Rockland, because we got more money and it's easier for us to file for reimbursement and get approvals. So right now, as of yesterday, I filed for reimbursements with Plymouth County for $2,045,000. And I still have more reimbursements to do. But we have approximately, the school has approximately 106,000 remaining. The town has approximately 360,000 remaining to spend. And out of that funding, we're transitioning from PPEs, et cetera, to deal with vaccinations and testing community-wide. So those types of things right now are being set up to take care of the community. And what they did at the federal level is everything was set to expire on December 30, 2020. They have extended the deadline, so we can now expend until December 31st, 2021. And with the federal stimulus package that was voted in December, that $900 billion, there's funding that will be going to the schools for various aspects. There's also funding that will be going to the local boards of health to help fund some of these additional items. And then with Rockland, we have some police grants, fire grants, so they can cover some of their own PPEs. And that's why we're going to try and transition to other needs of the community. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, no, that definitely made sense. I just,
Okay.
I know that there was some talk about state and local aid that
Right.
was not included in the last package. I was just wondering,
Right.
there's a lot of talk that they might be putting together something else, but do we know what we kind of missed out on, or if that was really going to make a difference for us? And is that something
Cool.
we should be
For
paying
those in
attention?
Plymouth County, we haven't missed out on anything. We are very lucky at this point that Plymouth County did what they did. Essentially, 55% of the money that went to the state is going to the local communities. The other 45% the state held on to. So when you hear that there was an earmark for $25,000 for the town of Rockland that came, through the state legislation back in, I think it was November. We don't qualify for that $25,000, and the reason we don't qualify from the state is because our funding is in Plymouth County. So we received an additional $25,000 in funding from Plymouth County to cover that earmark out of our own funds. For the money that's remaining, let me see if I can get this off the top of my head. 83 million has already been allocated out to communities that we're allowed to spend. So that leaves us, what, 10 million? No, 7 million. Out of that 7 million that hasn't been allocated yet, Plymouth County made an agreement with the state to have a reserve of $6 million to assist in housing, housing support, rental support for those in Plymouth County. So that leaves 1.1 million roughly, and I'm just going off the top of my head here, about 1.1 million to still be distributed through Plymouth County, but we also have to remember that Plymouth County has costs as well. So in the end, I don't know what's going to be left out of it, but I'm going to say it's not going to be much. And I have every confidence that Plymouth County will continue to distribute what they can to the communities to cover our needs.
All right. I appreciate the review on that. So bottom line is that we're running under, we know where the tax collections and the state receipts are the two big areas of concern. And you'll keep us posted if anything changes, but right now being 0.67% behind, although it's 400,000 plus 428,603, that's, bottom line is it's not concerning yet, but you're keeping an eye.
Correct. Yes, and we'll continue to keep an eye on it. Especially seeing how we're going to the 22 budget. We need to know how 21's shoring up for the revenues. And as we've stated all along, and this is why our biggest presentation will come February 3rd, is because we're waiting for the state revenue. The state budgets usually come out by the end of the month. We don't know what's going to happen this year. Usually they come out at the MMA show in January. That show is this week. So hopefully the governor will have a budget for us. But as we know, last year, the governor's budget was a work in progress up until December of this year. So we just have to bear in mind, we're doing everything we can to make sure that we have everything covered, any type of adverse reaction, any good reaction. We're going conservative because we need to make sure that we don't fall into a revenue trap.
All right. So timeline wise, just real quick, so you and Doug are gonna, once you get your state budget numbers, is that when you're gonna start to have more conversations directly with the department heads to say, you know, what are you actually looking for, you know, the next fiscal year and where
Well,
we're gonna end up?
The financial team met today, and the financial team, although Deb wasn't there, the assessor consists of town administrator, myself, the treasurer, the collector, and the assessor. And we meet once to twice a month, especially now that we're getting into the budgeting season. It'll be more progressive so that we can look at revenues and make some educated decisions on what we need to do. As we get into February, we're hoping we'll have the cannabis money in play. Hopefully by January 31st. I'm watching the state website, the vendor web, to see if our money's been issued yet or if it's in the payments to be made section. I'm checking that. So I'll have some numbers to work with. And the state is going to make a very big difference for all of us. You know, the town side, the school side, the community in general.
All right, so then I guess what I'd ask if you could do, and I think it probably makes sense, is obviously you're gonna, the same document that you presented here tonight, there's gonna be some changes by the February meeting. If you could, when you make those changes, just highlight them and then we can just,
Right.
you know, go right to those as we scroll through and look at revenues.
Now, for the
by the
February
February.
meeting, the revenues that I gave you are FY21. I don't expect the revenues to be closed on the treasurer's side for January until
Okay.
mid-February. So I won't have much to change on this
Okay.
report, but the more pertinent aspect on February 3rd will probably be the budgetary and what we're looking at that, and that's where a lot of work between now and then.
Okay.
And preliminary budgets, I believe the town administrator plans on presenting those to the selectmen on the 2nd, which is the night before your meeting. Okay.
All right, that's great. Any further questions for Biz? And, you know, Biz, we're gonna try and have department heads come in probably
Mhm.
mid-February on
Right.
to present their budgets. And we'll probably, what we normally do, and I think makes a lot of sense, is we'll start with a lot of the basic budgets that don't have a lot of movement in them generally
Right.
year over year. The ones that are fairly static where, you know, the department head can come in and talk to us about, you know, just how things have been going, any concerns that they have, but budgetary wise, there
Right.
may be, you know, not a lot of movement, you know what I mean?
Right.
So those are the types of things that we'll, you know, we'll attempt to knock
Right.
out. I mean, normally like the building department, he's pretty quick with,
Right.
you know, here's what's going on with this, and this, and we knock out 8 or 10 little budgets that, you know, in his department that will kind of get us moving in the right direction. So,
Now, the budgets that you will be getting are the ones that the department submitted.
okay,
That will be thoroughly reviewed with the departments before you get them. That's the goal. So we have a lot of work to do.
All right.
And in the budget message, the departments were asked to level fund.
Right.
Due to what we anticipated to be a very tough season.
right. And when do you think we'll get an idea on free cash? Is that going to happen by February 3rd or no?
I'm gonna say it's gonna be tight. I submitted it in November, but like I had explained before, the DOR is working remotely. Their priority was saying tax rates for communities, et cetera. So they're just now getting back into the free cash allocations. I did have a conversation last week and I was told it'd be another week or two. So if let's say it's gonna be 2 weeks, it'll be close.
All right, so
It'll be
if not by
close.
February 3rd, certainly if we have a mid-February meeting, we should have free cash by then.
As soon as I have it, you'll have it. I don't want to give you a date because I don't want to misspeak because it's not in my control. It's in the control of the state right now.
Right, got it. Got it. Can you also send us a report on where we stand with our stabilization fund?
Stabilization fund is at the 1.2 million,
It's at 1.2 million.
correct? Mhm. Give or take interest. It's right in that 1.2 million range.
All right, that's good. All right, good stuff. I appreciate it, Biz. Any final questions for Biz?
Okay,
Oh, thank you, Biz.
Thanks, everyone.
you're welcome. If you don't mind, I'm just gonna hang in the background and listen. Is that
That's fine.
okay?
Yep.
That's
Okay,
fine.
thank you. Bye, I'm here if you have a question. Thanks.
All right, everybody, I'm just hang on for a second here. I'm just gonna pull up the budget calendar. Get that up on my screen. I'm gonna share my screen.
I just have a black screen for you, John.
Well, I'm sharing my screen now. How's that? You guys see it?
Yep.
Yep.
All right, you see the budget
Yeah.
calendar?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, so fantastic. All right, so again, like I said, from May 3rd, we'll be going backwards. Selectmen have to vote on the budget April 5th. So obviously that gives us plenty of time. I believe, again, our budget, normally when we get our final budgets to vote, we'll have Board of Selectmen recommend X, Y, Z. So for the folks that are on, and I think, is it Jeff and Joe that are on the capital planning committee? So, I mean, this is good information from them. I don't know, Joe, if you want to check with Rich and see if he has.
I just
A
saw an
copy of
email.
this.
I just got an email from him. I didn't get a chance to read it.
Okay, yeah, just to make sure he has it too, because we'll need to have the capital planning, present their recommendations, assuming we have some free cash, to allocate to any capital projects. Well, that'll have to be presented and done in March. As you can
Yeah.
see, they'll look at the finance committee final votes on the budget recommendations on the 17th.
Yeah.
And then February and March, we've got your department heads have to meet with the finance committee. So that's really what this is kind of where we are in the whole scheme of things. This isn't a very detailed calendar like week to week, but I think these are the major dates that we need to focus on. And I think we need to build our calendar off of that. So if our final meeting is going to be on March 17th, to give our final votes, which again, I got to check with Doug on this, because my understanding is the selectmen usually vote the final budget and then give it to finance committee, and then we vote our budget. I mean, is that the way
Right,
it's been? That's the way it's been in the past, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so those two might be flip-flop a little bit here. Because the finance committee is supposed to come after the selectmen have voted. We're supposed to get the selectmen's input on the budget before we vote. But I'll send an email to Doug on that. But let's plan on the 17th on being done. So I think March 3rd and March 10th. I'm just gonna write some dates down. 10, March 3rd, And then if we get into February, we'd be looking at probably we've got the 3rd that we're already meeting on February 3rd. I don't think that we'll be ready to take a department meeting at that point. I did talk to Tom Hickey from the Social Voc Tech, and he would be looking for like the 2nd week in February, so February 10th. You can kind of pencil him in there for February 10th. And then we've got the 17th and the 24th. If we're going to make this March 17th date, we're really going to have to meet pretty much every week in February. So let's plan for that. And then after I talk to Doug, if something changes, we'll kind of go off of that. My anticipation is that these meetings should be a lot shorter, and I'll try and talk to the department heads ahead of time to say, hey, listen, we need these meetings to be relatively quick, especially if you don't have a lot of movement in your budget. We're going to give you 10 minutes, basically 5-10 minutes to talk to them, 5-10 minutes to maybe ask some questions, and then move on to the next one. So that in an hour and a half or so for a meeting, we can cover 6-7 departments. That's ideally what we want to get through, especially some of the smaller ones. Sometimes police, fire, things like that, they get a lot more going on, a lot more to present, and they have a lot more money to talk about, as well as the schools. So them, obviously they get a little bit longer time.
All right.
So what do we want to do for, if we've got March 10th, we're going to have Social Voc Tech. I'm thinking, if you give me February 10th, Social Voc Tech, I'm thinking February 17th, we could put in the schools. Because that way we'll have the Voc Tech information in it already for the schools.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay.
Yeah, but are the schools gonna, John, are the schools gonna know all the information if they're
Yeah,
getting their
right.
information in
Ready.
February?
Yeah. By February 17th, are they going to know all the information? I mean, they should have their budgets.
Usually we do them right toward the end
Yeah,
of our process because they don't know. There's so many, because their budget's so big and there's so much uncertainty.
Yeah. All right. So let's move the schools to March 3rd then. I just want to be able to give enough time so that if the schools need to cancel, they can reschedule and still make it in under the wire. So look at March 3rd for the schools. Okay. Do we want to put the police and fire on the 17th then?
Yeah, that should
March,
work. There,
March 17th?
February
February
7th.
Well,
13th.
February, I was gonna say.
February 17th. Yeah, we got to
Yeah.
get some of these departments done. I would say February 10th, we could work on town hall departments.
Yeah.
So that would be the collector, the treasurer,
Clerk,
clerk.
treasurer.
Yeah, we got collector, treasurer, clerk. We've got the assessor's office, right? And then we'll get the building department in. Okay, we'll do police on the 7th. So February 10th will be Social Voc Tech. And then some of the town hall departments, not all of them, obviously, but collector, treasurer,
Collector,
clerk,
clerk,
assessor,
and treasurer.
building department. How does that sound, everyone?
Do you
That
want the
works.
building
Good.
department?
It is what it is.
John, this is
Yeah.
Bobby. On the 10th, when we have the collector, clerk, and treasurer, do you want to put, you don't want to put the building with him because he goes over all them other budgets too, weights and measures, electrical, plumbing.
Yeah, we're gonna have to, the department heads are just gonna have to come in, and what we're on,
Well, I
there's
was
not gonna be a
gonna
lot of
say, why
movement in these guys.
He
you know.
probably knows his budget right now, so why not put him February 3rd?
I don't know if we'll be ready February 3rd. I think February 3rd, we're gonna get the final numbers really from finance. So we have a better idea and hopefully again, the town will have met, Biz and the rest of the group between now and then, they will have met with the department heads to go through things. So, let's just put the building department, let's put them aside then, Bobby, for now. We'll
Yeah,
come back to
'cause
them.
I was gonna say, if not, put them in the 24th of February.
Yeah, so so for the 24th of February, let's look at water, sewer, highway, parks, trees. I think some of these guys are actually isn't Dave does the trees, right?
Yeah,
Right.
So he'd be
So he's,
highway and trees, and then we'll get Peter in for the parks, right?
Dave also has the drainage.
Drainage.
Okay.
yeah, the drainage.
So we'll get him in on
And-
February 24th.
And we haven't hired a new superintendent yet, so Dave would also be representing sewer at this time.
Yeah, because Biz, aren't the interviews next week or something?
I'm
that-
not really sure. I'm not on the interview process, so
Yeah, I was talking to Doug the other day. I think it's
Okay.
next week they're gonna start the interviews.
right. So they start the interviews, whether or not they would have someone in place before the hearing.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
wouldn't think they have anybody.
Yeah, so you might
Let's-
want to put Dave on that calendar or have him involved somewhat, even if we do have a new superintendent.
Right.
So
Just a thought.
yeah, no, it's good. So Bobby, let's put the building. Should we put the building department up first that night, and then we'll get Peter in, and then the rest of the time we can kind of dedicate to Dave because he's got a lot to go over, and he generally likes to give us a little more detail
24th?
on the 24th.
Yeah,
We'll put building up first. We'll put parks up second, and then we'll have Dave kind of carry the rest of the night going through his budget.
yeah, we'll go building, park, water, and then we'll go highway and sewer because Dave will take them both.
Yep, he'll do highway, sewer, drainage, tree department. He'll do all of that.
Yeah.
February 17th, we got police and fire. I think we should have Board of Health in there unless, Biz, I don't know if you want to contribute on that. If you think Board of Health is going to have some last minute, is their budget going to be one of the ones that's going to be kind of last minute changes?
Right now, they're in process of putting out a request for bid for trash collection. So we will have a new contract going into FY '22. Whether or not that contract will be solidified by then, I don't think so. But we'll have to find some type of happy medium out there. Let's say she's hearing that contracts are going up by 2%. Well, put 2% increase in. Based on past history and based on the knowns, that may need to be adjusted. But I know it is going out for
We
bid.
can put her March 3rd.
Yeah, why don't we put our March 3rd with the schools and we'll put IT in with the police and fire on the 17th, okay?
On the other candidates of police and fire, you still got youth and senior and library and some of those other things that should take 5 minutes each. They may be good candidates following police, fire, and IT on the 17th.
If you put culture and recreation along with culture and rec along with the youth services, the last two categories, they're all smaller departments and they should go pretty quick.
hmm
So the 500 series and the 600 series on the budgets.
So culture and rec,
Mhm.
So March 3rd, why don't we, like Bill said, we'll put Youth Commission, Council of Aging, Board of Health,
Mhm.
put all them, we can put all them March 3rd.
I'm suggesting doing them February 17th. Their budget should be pretty stable. It should be quick. I mean, police and fire aren't going to be long conversations. IT is not going to be a long conversation. I'd stuff I'd stuff as many of those as you can on the 17th, knowing, there could be a snow situation. I mean, who knows? I'd rather get stuff done sooner rather than later and have a little slack later on for some budget thing that suddenly comes up and it's got to be dealt with in early March. I mean, I think those culture and that, because I think those are 5-minute, 7-minute conversations, aren't they?
Well, depends on the year, I guess.
Are you doing these via Zoom or do you plan on doing
Zoom.
these in person?
Zoom.
Zoom. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, hey, let's try it. We'll do
All right.
police, we'll do police, fire, IT, we'll do culture and rec, which is really, is culture and rec the youth commission? I'm not familiar with this terminology. Is that youth commission?
Yeah.
Culture and rec includes the veterans, the COA, the youth commission. It's a category.
So veterans, youth, and COA.
Yeah, health and human resources is Board of Health, those types of things, and then the culture and recreation. It's funds that run in the 500 and funds that run in the 600. I don't have access to it right now, but if you look at last year's budgets, you'll see on the budget summary how they roll.
All right, so that's fine. So yeah, we don't necessarily need to have to take them in we're trying to, I understand what you're saying, Biz, that they that's how they flow in the budget. We're just looking at it from a perspective of, the folks that we know are going to take a little bit more time, and then,
Okay.
Different groups to put together. But
Those two categories should be those two categories should be quick, and that's why I said those two categories.
I agree.
Sorry.
Yeah, no. So police, fire, IT, veterans, council on aging, and youth on February 17th. That's a packed day.
Yeah.
Okay. March 3rd is going to be the schools and then Board of Health. Okay.
Still have libraries that to put in somewhere.
We'll put library on the 3rd. That's got nothing going on really. I mean, literally.
Yeah.
I'm sure. Are they even open? No, man, they probably are a little bit.
I don't think they're open to the public. I think you can borrow from them.
Correct. They aren't open to the
Put
public.
library March 3rd too?
March 3rd for
Yep.
library. March
Correct.
10th is going to be like keeping it purposefully open because we're going to need a full day of just going through the budget, voting on budgets. Plus, we need I think if you save it as open, then if something falls out, you can stick them in on the 10th if you had to. And the 17th should be, hopefully a final budget. But again, I got to talk to Doug about the calendar because this is a real stretch for us. Like 6 weeks in a row is a lot. Normally we do 2 to 3 weeks a month during the budget season. So we're going to talk to Doug about whether or not the Board of Selectmen is going to vote first. And if that's the case, it'll flip flop and we'll pick up an extra week at the end of March.
Yeah.
And that'll give us the extra time to kind of spread this out a little bit. So it's not so, right now it's pretty overbearing right now, the way it's kind of lining up. What other departments am I forgetting about?
I don't know. Let's see.
No.
You got boards and
February
committees.
10th.
Accounting and the town administrator's office.
Okay. All right. You guys want to do that on the 3rd, Biz? Or you're not going to be ready, right? No, I
What,
won't do that to Doug.
February
'cause
3rd?
Yeah.
Yeah, February 3rd, we're going to be taking up an awful lot of your time
Okay.
going through the budget projections. So,
All right. Well, I'm going to add you into the town hall departments on the 10th
Sure.
then.
sure.
So accounting.
Yep.
Accounting and, Board of Selectmen, which encompasses the town manager.
Right. And the thing is, I don't think you're going to see many changes from some of these departments because they know the situation. So it should go pretty quickly, hopefully.
The CPA is one that we usually have in too.
CPA,
Yeah,
That's right.
good call.
they're gonna have a warrant, yeah, an article.
All right, CPA usually needs extra time, so let's put them in on
Right.
the 3rd because they have to meet, they have to vote, all of that good stuff. Capital planning, again, Joe, you'll have to let me know where capital planning, or Jeff, I think it's Jeff's on that group too, but I need to
Yeah.
know when you guys are gonna be ready. So I'm sure Rich is gonna go through the same exercise to back the calendar up and figure it out.
Jeff, did you see his email? Did you check
I
it?
didn't look at
Oh.
his latest email in terms of like when he thought he would be doing that, but
All right, we'll check in with you. I'll send you an email if I,
yeah, no, I don't expect him to have an
Yeah, I can.
answer right away. I just think that, I'm just asking if you could remember to do it, because I may not remember to do it, is to just bring forward, what the when he needs to do that. You know what I mean?
all right,
Are you talking about
Historical,
February 3rd for CPA?
Yeah, CPA would be March 3rd.
March 3rd.
March 3rd for CPA, and we can add the historical committee there. I mean, that's basically the same group.
You want the
Those-
historical March 3rd too?
Yep.
if they think they're gonna need it, if they don't think their budget's gonna change or
I was
be
gonna
anything.
say,
it's only like
to talk about.
$500, isn't it? I
Yeah,
mean,
if
Right,
it's supposed to be level funding, why would they need to?
yeah.
right.
I'm not saying that they do. I'm saying that we can offer it to them if they want to come in with the CPA and present it, because the CPA, we will need to take a vote on and have that on the warrant. Water,
Just
sewer, highway.
FYI, all boards and committees, planning board, zoning board, historical, celebrations, etc., they're being level funded at the rates they were for 2021, just
Okay.
for information.
No problem.
Okay.
Yeah, the only reason I would invite the historical committee is only because they are going to be in conjunction with the CPA. So usually the same people that the CPA are doing work for, the historical commission
Right.
usually contributes. This is why we're doing it, that kind of thing.
Yeah, because we haven't heard from them in 18 years until the CPA started.
Right. Okay, parks. All right,
You
I'm just
talking
making a
about
list of the,
historical?
I'm making a list of the town hall of the different departments. And so we can just assign some folks to that. So Julie, I know you wanted to be assigned to schools.
Yeah, I want to say, because I'm on that school building committee, so I'd like to stay on.
Yeah. Who else wants to join Julie with schools? We'll come back to that. Board of Health,
I always do the Board of Health. I go up and talk to
Joe Gamble, got it. Okay.
a friend up there.
Library,
I can do library.
okay, Lori, thank you.
Mhm.
I haven't heard from Sheila, by the way. I know it's kind of an aside, but I haven't heard from Sheila in a while, and I did send an email to Dan.
Okay.
Trying to get a status on him. So if anybody has that status or whatever it is, can you let me know what that is? All right. CPA, I'm not going to assign anybody to, because whoever handles the parks, maybe bring that up with, when you handle the parks. So let me assign who's going to handle parks.
I'll take the clock.
You, Bobby?
Yep,
Okay, so you'll handle parks and then you'll talk to them about the CPA while you're there, okay?
yep.
All right, police,
I'll take police too.
fire,
I'll do the fire.
Bill Prince, is that you, Bill Prince?
Yeah.
Okay. IT. I've taken IT before, I can do that again. Okay. Council on Aging,
Who's doing IT?
I'm gonna do IT.
One. Okay.
Council on Aging. Okay. Veterans. Figure we do those together. Whoever does Council on Aging can do veterans. All right, I'll come back to it. Youth,
I can do that one.
that you, Jeff?
Yep.
Jeff. All right, who wants to talk to Dave about water, sewer, highway, trees, and drains?
I can do that. I did sewer and water last year, so I can just take on the highway group too.
I got you, Craig. Thank you.
Water is Joe LaPointe, not Dave.
Yep.
Okay.
Right. Okay. All part of the same flow, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Building department. Is that you, Bobby?
Yeah, I'll take building.
All right. All right. So I'll take the collector, assessor, treasurer, accounting biz. You can just call me if we need to go over anything. And the board of selectmen. I'll take those folks. And again, and I just want to make sure the message is clear. When you're reaching out to these people, they're already going to know about the level funding. There's not going to be any surprises. This is just more of a conversation to say, hey, is there anything in your budget you wanted to go over? If there is an opportunity to submit any articles, do you have a list of articles you'd like to submit? What is, how do you rank them? Which ones are most important to you and why? Try and think of any questions, and then we'll try and take a little bit of time at the end of each meeting to say, hey, what's coming up next? And have you had a chance to talk to those department heads? Was there any feedback? And then if there's any time, if we say, hey, can you ask them this question or that question, that you get back to them and say, hey, some people on the, board on the finance committee are interested in more information on X, whatever it is, right? I think in the past, we've had the clerk was looking for a new machine. And we sent back a couple of questions. That way, when the clerk shows up, they're more prepared, they're ready to go, and the whole meeting just flows. So that's really the purpose. Give them an opportunity to have like a one-on-one conversation and kind of spitball about what they're trying to do. Again, a lot less movement this year, so I expect these conversations to be quick, but that's the purpose. We're not going to overdo it, but that's definitely what we're trying to accomplish, okay?
John, did you get anybody for Council on Aging and Veterans?
I did not. Did you want to do that, Julie?
I can't, no.
Okay. Anyone else would like to do that?
I'm so swamped.
I don't know who said that, but apparently.
I'll do it. This is Bill Stewart. I'll put me down for COA and veterans.
Bill Stewart, COA and veterans. Okay. All right. CPA, we got covered. I think we've got everyone covered. Anyone not get assigned anything that wants to be assigned anything? Thank you. IT is me, it's fine. D, got it.
Who are you missing here tonight?
Who are we missing here tonight? We're missing Dan and Sheila.
Yeah.
So I can talk to them too about jumping on board with some of these larger groups.
I thought I seen Sheila's name up there a little while ago.
I don't know.
Laurie was
Are you
here.
here, Sheila?
Is Laurie still here?
I'm gonna stop sharing.
Yeah, Lori's still here.
Laurie's still here.
Hi.
She had one of my cameras for a while, ones that don't work. All right. I think we've got everything assigned. So next week is going to be about hopefully getting some more concrete budget numbers. Not next week, but the next meeting, February 3rd. Okay. So we getting more budgetary numbers. Between now and then, we can certainly reach out to these department heads and start having these conversations. And then we'll kick off on the 10th. And Bobby, you're going to work on the invites, right? I'll take care of the social voc tech on the 10th. And then if you can reach out to the town hall, and then, Julie, if you can get the meeting notes, once they're done, if you can distribute it to everybody on the finance committee, and just within those notes, if you can have the departments listed with who's assigned to them and the dates. I don't know how you want to do that, but it can be, here's what we're proposing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, John, when I talk to these departments and let them know what dates they're gonna be on, should I just tell them to get in touch with Doug for the code to get on the meeting? Or will they know how to do it?
No, what'll happen, Bobby, is I'll handle, when I do the invite, I'll handle putting their email address in and inviting them to the meeting, including them in the agenda. You know, and you guys will have to keep me honest if you don't see them on there or something like that. Just, you know, raise a hand. You know what I mean? We all got a million things going on, so I appreciate any help I can get. So, but we'll email them the agenda, and in the agenda should be the invite, you know, or subsequent email will come out with the invite. Okay. All right, and you know, again, communicate to these people if you don't have a lot going on. If you don't have a lot there might even be a department who says, I really got nothing going on. My budget's flat year over year. I don't have a lot to talk about this year. We're not putting any articles in. If they want to cede their time and say, I don't need to attend, I'm perfectly fine with that. They don't have to attend and present to the board of, to the finance committee. If they have a lot of movement on though, they really do need to attend. If they do have a lot of things or a few things going on that they're going to have to put some explanation behind. They can't just, you know, just submit it and one of their budget line items that, you know, goes up 50%, and we're just supposed to accept it. They do have to attend for that. So, okay. All right. Any other questions? Everybody good with the plan?
Yep.
Sounds good.
Everybody get their Mega Million numbers?
No, I forgot mine.
I figured,
If I win, I'm not going to be at your next meeting.
All right. If drinks will be on Biz. If Biz wins, then drinks will be on Biz at the bar. So come on over.
Biz, put the pot money down on a number.
Okay.
It's not much. It's all upside. Come on.
Oh, we're live on video here, so we should probably be careful.
It's all good. All right. Hey, listen, everyone. Thank you for attending. We appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of your evening. And again, thank you for attending.
See you February 3rd.
Have a good night.
See you later.
Good night.
Oh, hey, wait. I need a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Bill Stewart,
I'll second
seconds.
that.
All right. I had a motion by
Me.
Joe and a second by
Joe.
Bill Stewart. All in favor, say aye.
Sounds good.
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
Aye.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Julie.
All right.
Bye.
hey.
Bye now.
Good night.